Our next guest says employers and workers need to radically adjust to an economy that's very different than in the past. Mary Walshok is a professor at the University of California, San Diego, and the co-author of Closing America's Job Gap, which examines the disparity between the jobs being created and the skills of the American workforce. Mary, good to have you here on Street Smart. You say employers and workers need to radically adjust to an economy that's very different than what they may be accustomed to. What exactly do you mean?
I think in the old economy, employers expected that the high schools or the community colleges or the universities would prepare the workers they need. But more and more, the specialized character of work, because of changes in technology and markets, requires that even a well-educated person has to acquire skills at the workplace and constantly update their skills. And employers in America have not traditionally invested a lot in workforce development compared to places like Asia and Europe.
So how do we get to that point? I mean, you write about this book, Closing America's Job Gap. It's in there. I mean, how do we do it? We're hearing a lot from the Obama administration about what needs to be done in terms of education. What specifically, what kind of programs do you want to see put into place to achieve the end that you're talking about?
Well, Obama today is talking about high schools, right? And talking in Miami. Mm-hmm. And we, in our opinion, feel that high schools need to do a better job of getting kids into real life situations where they see the kind of work that people do and the kinds of skills that are needed. We've eliminated a lot of shop classes, a lot of technical classes, and yet this country needs technical workers. So we may need to reintroduce that into the high schools and community colleges. And even at the university level, we need college graduates, but we need doers, not just thinkers. People need to know how to yes.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking that there are a lot of, college grads out there, though, that cannot find jobs. So you're saying we need to redirect our thinking in terms of how they're being educated and what they're being educated about?
Well, we argue that it's good to have a broad general college education, but then there's a lot of value in getting a certificate program, for example, that helps you bridge to employment. And the president's been talking about that as well. Mm-hmm. So, for example, a literature graduate is a good, smart student and a good, smart citizen, but may not know how to do technical writing, or may not know how to build websites that are useful to businesses, and he or she may need some additional training to use their good general education in a very applied environment.
It sounds like a rather easy fix, Mary, is it?
I think it's an easy fix, and we have examples from around the country of young people and mid-career people who are going back to school for 6 weeks or 6 months and completely retooling and reskilling. You look at something like the healthcare field today, in which information technology systems are being introduced across hospitals and clinics, and nurses, doctors, all sorts of managerial folks are coming back, and in short courses and intense training sessions are acquiring new skills that will allow them to keep their good jobs.
I mean, Mary, it sounds like, in terms of who needs to be driving these certificate programs, is it both the government and also corporate America so that we really get the kind of workers that we need?
Right. I think there has not been enough attention paid to the needs of employers. So we're a very strong voice for listening to the employer, including asking the federal government in its workforce training programs through the Department of Labor and other provisions to require a much more representative cross-section of employers in regions, cities like Phoenix, where I am today, or in New York, where you are, require those federal agencies to listen to the needs of employers and design programs and prepare people for the jobs that are there.
One other thing I thought was kind of interesting here in your book also is you talk about how America's losing its way by thinking that the future of its economy is going to be in big companies and in finding the next General Motors. I mean, that to me seems to be a very key point here.
Yes. I think a lot of people still expect to work for a big company for a lifetime. And yet, 100% of the new jobs that are being created in this country today are by small, startup, and high-growth companies. With the development of the web, more and more people are able to sell their services or products in companies that are home-based, that they create themselves. And so there's a whole different paradigm of how we're going to create wealth and how we're going to create jobs moving forward. And it's more and more in these small, nimble, innovative systems, because technology allows me from my home in California to build a global company.
Mary, I got 30 seconds left here. So for those millions of Americans who are still out of work here, give me, your key advice to them, and just quickly.
Don't sit around waiting for a job. Go back to school, get on the web, acquire new skills. People with multiple skills who are always learning are going to be the most employable and are going to have the best jobs.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Mary, thank you so much for some time this afternoon. We appreciate it. It's Mary Walshok, and her book is Closing America's Job Gap. All right.